Hey everybody, I have something amazing to share with you. I know that you all have probably seen these before, but this is my first time at it. I saw my sweet friend Annie from Indiana Jones do these, and I had to give it a try. So let's jump in. So I have some of these resin pieces that I used my IOD molds to make. I have a canvas, these two beautiful pieces of paper that came from a paper pack from Michaels, and then I have one of those like tri-fold cardboard pieces from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to take my canvas out of the packaging, and then I decide I'm going to paint my pieces. So I used, what color did I use for this? Elephant. I used the elephant chalk paint for the smaller mushroom. And then I used some of my acrylic paint to paint the other two. And I do show you all of the colors, so you'll see momentarily which ones I used. So here you can see elephant, and then I used burnt and raw umber. And the other two escape me right now, but they're right there, raw sienna, and there was another one. So what I did was I took the two colors and I just mixed them together. I was trying to get as close to the colors in the cardstock as I possibly could. And I think for the most part, I managed to do that. So I did put these two colors together and mix them together, and I did paint over this mushroom, but I just didn't like it. It wasn't the right color. So what I did was I took some of my terracotta paint in red clay and I went over it, and it was perfect. So then I took my white cap Dixie Belle paint. I do buy that from Charlene at the Crafty Art Shack. I will have her information down below if you're interested in purchasing any. I love this paint. It goes on like butter. So anyway, I'm painting all of the stems in that white, and then I'm going to put everything aside to dry. Then I cut out a piece of cardboard, and I wanted it big enough to touch the sides, like the wood frame. I didn't want it to go inside, if that makes any sense at all, which it probably doesn't if I'm being honest. But anyways, you'll see. So I'm taking that white cap paint and I am just going over that cardboard. Now, in hindsight, I wish I had some of those flat canvases because I think it would look nicer. But this is what I had, and I'm just trying it for the first time, so that's what I used. Now I'm going to take some Mod Podge and I am going to go over the front of the canvas, and then I just let that dry. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the inside of the canvas, or the back side of the canvas with the Mod Podge.
a faster car. Lay my troubles to rest. Blow the smoke through my cigarette. City lights looking fine, and I know this is my time now. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one.
So I put that aside to dry. And now I have some of this super moss. I think I got it at Michael's, but it could have been Hobby Lobby, if I'm being honest. And I'm going to take my Gorilla Wood glue and some hot glue, and I'm going to glue my mushrooms down to the cardboard piece that I painted.
Nothing can break me, no, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down, feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at the beautiful stars, I wanna take a trip to Mars. Nothing can break me, no, no, nothing can break me. Look at the beautiful stars, I wanna drive a faster car. I'm gonna be myself, I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna be myself, I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna be myself, I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna be myself, I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. Try not to hold me down, feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars, I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me, no, no, nothing can break me.
Once I got those down, I'm going to take some of that messy moss and I'm going to use some hot glue, and I'm just going to glue some of it down onto like the base of the mushrooms so that they kind of look like they're growing up out of the moss. That was my idea anyway.
I've been feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off.
Now, while you're watching this, I want to take this time to thank everybody for all of their prayers and positive vibes, positive thoughts that you sent my way. I did have my biopsy and I am indeed still cancer free. So, praise God. All of your prayers just meant the world to me and to my family, and I'm just so grateful to all of you who took that moment to pray for me. And so I'm back to crafting and I am super excited. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart.
Look at the beautiful stars, I wanna drive a faster car. Lay my troubles to rest. Blow the smoke through my cigarette. City lights looking fine, and I know this is my time now. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be
Now, once I got that all cleaned up, I'm going to work on the canvas. So I'm going to take this beautiful mushroom paper and I'm going to place that on the front of the canvas. Now, keep in mind, this was my first one. So I was struggling a little bit, if I'm honest, if I'm being honest with you. I would not do this iron-on method for this particular craft. When I do it again, I won't. But anyways, for this one, I'm using the iron-on method. I let the Mod Podge dry, and now I am just heating it up to reactivate the Mod Podge, which honestly didn't work out so well for me. But anyway, again, this was my first one. It's a bit of a learning curve, but I am absolutely obsessed with making these now. So you're probably going to see a lot more of these. But anyway, so once I get this all ironed on, I'm just going to cut off the excess, flip it over, and add the other paper that I showed you to the inside of the canvas. And now here you can see I'm trying to measure it as best I can. For this one, I ended up cutting it too short. So yeah, because you want to leave a little extra that will actually fit under the frame. I hope that makes sense. Sometimes I wish, or I've been thinking, I should say, I don't know if it might be easier to take the canvas off the frame to do this and then put it back on the frame. It's an extra step, but it might be worth it in the end. I don't know. Anyway, once I got the right size, thank goodness I had 2 of these pieces of paper. I just am doing the same process with the iron, and again, won't do that again. So anyway. Okay, so now it's done, right? There, and the bottom, you do want the pretty printed side facing up. And you'll see in just a second if you haven't seen this before. If you have, then you already know that. So now I'm taking my box cutter thing, utility knife, and I just kind of made an X. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I am going to cut straight down and on, what am I trying to say? I'm making like a cross and then a plus sign and an X. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Probably doesn't, but you guys know me. I never make sense. So here's another mistake I made. So I took the cardboard and now I'm going to hot glue it to the back of the frame. So I get all my glue on and I glue it down onto the back of the frame. And it's perfect. Everything's going just fantastic until I flip it over and realize that I put it upside down. Yep, I did put it upside down. So I had to go through and pull off the cardboard, which of course ripped some of the cardboard. It was a hot mess and I was getting very frustrated, but I just took a deep breath and just kept pushing forward. And eventually I got there.
Drive a faster car. I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes.
So here you can see some of the paint peeled off the cardboard. I just painted everything back up and you can't really tell. So I went through the process of gluing it back on again. And this time I paid attention to how the paper was facing and how the pieces on the cardboard were facing. And I got it glued down the way it was supposed to be to begin with.
Nothing can break me. so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go.
Okay, so now here you can see that the paper is pulling off of the canvas. So all I did was I went through with my glue gun and I just glued all of the pieces together because in the end you're not gonna see it. Then you just take one piece, you put a bit of glue on the like pointy part, and then just roll it back and glue it onto itself. I hope that makes sense. And you can see right here what I'm doing. So I'm just taking a little bit of glue, add it right to the tip, and then roll it back onto itself. Now, when you're doing this, you need to make sure that you have cut these slits long enough so that your creation on the back, you know, where the cardboard, you can actually see it. So here, I didn't make you sit through all of it. So I'm just showing you like the last piece. And I just, like I said, you just glue the end and then roll it on itself. And it's really that simple. And it's so stinking cute. So I have these two thin ribbons that both came from the Dollar Tree. And I just layered them together. And I'm going to just make a bow to, I was going to do a shoestring bow, but I ended up doing the you know, the awareness ribbon and scrunching it in the center and take a piece of twine and then cover the twine. You know how I do it. You know how I roll. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing here. I'm just making a cute little bow that I am going to use to stick up at the top of this creation, and it is so adorable. Look how cute this is. I love how this came out. For my first one, I think it's pretty darn cute. Let me know what you guys think of this one.
I don't know if you know that. It's really going viral. I'm sure people are messaging you. Someone else. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes.
Okay, for this next one, I have some resin oak leaves and acorns. I used an IOD mold to create these, and I just painted them all in those colors. Sorry, it went too fast for me. But so I have these two beautiful pages, some Mod Podge, and another canvas. So now I'm going to use the Mod Podge and I am going to add it to the back of the canvas first. And then I will do the same thing to the front. This time I am using it while it's wet. So I'm just going to cut a piece. And I do end up having to cut it a couple of times because it was too long this time. And you just have to kind of like shimmy it in there. It's a little difficult, but which is why I wonder if it would not be easier. I might try it next time. Just take the canvas, like take all the staples out and just take the canvas out or off of the frame and try doing it that way. I think will be easier. So you can see I'm trying to shimmy it in there and cutting it down as much as I can. I can't cut it down too much because I don't want it to be too short. So anyway, after some finagling, I do get it in, and it wrinkles a little bit. And at that point, I use the iron, but just to get like the air bubbles out, and that's it. And you can see me kind of smushing it in there and flattening it out with my Cricut tool thing. And yeah, it works so much better when, for me, it worked so much better when the Mod Podge was wet.
a faster car. Lay my troubles to rest.
Now for the front of this, I wanted to try just tracing it and cutting out a piece because I didn't want it to go like I wanted there to be almost like a little bit of a border where the canvas and the paper meets. I hope that makes sense. So that is what I did with this one. I just traced it and then I cut inside the line just a little bit, and it was just enough to give me the look that I was looking for. So again, I'm going to use the Mod Podge and I am going to keep it wet while I add the paper to the top of the canvas.
Stars, I wanna take a trip to Mars. Nothing can break me. No, no, nothing can break me. Look at the beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car.
So now that I've got the paper all smoothed down, I'm using my cashew chalk paint from Waverly. I paint the cardboard with it, and then I just do a heavy dry brush over the leaves and acorns. Now I'm going to spend some time trying to figure out how I want everything to sit on this piece of cardboard. And then once I get that figured out, I'm going to use some more wood glue and hot glue, and I am just going to glue them to the cardboard.
No, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town.
Now that everything is situated, I glue everything down, and now I am going to take my my blade and I'm going to do the same process. I'm just going to make an X, and then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to go in and just make all of the cuts longer, and then I do the plus sign as well as this X.
Go spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I just wanna feel alive. It's just what I do.
Now I kind of rushed it, so the Mod Podge wasn't quite dry, and you can see that where I cut, but it doesn't show. Everything works out just fine. So I am just taking a lot of hot glue and I'm going to check the paper to make sure I lay it down properly, and then I'm just going to glue the back right to the frame.
Look at the beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Lay my troubles to rest. Blow the smoke through my cigarette.
And now I'm going to do the same process where I just put a little bit of glue on the point and roll it up onto itself.
I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I just wanna feel alive. It's just what I do when I'm out. So try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me. No, no, nothing can break me. Try.
And now I feel like it's too plain over on that one spot, so I just take a single acorn and place it there, and it's all it needs. So now I have some more of this ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and so I have an orange and a like a maroonish colored one and a green. So I just, I thought it looked better that way than just all yellow on the one side. So that's what I did. I tied it on the back side instead. And then I dovetailed all the ends. I covered the twine in the center, and then I hot glued it to the corner of the canvas. Now I'm taking those, I think they're called pit berries. Yeah. And I just wrapped a few around one of my Cricut tools, and I'm going to do that twice, and then I'm going to glue it in the back of the bow. And yeah, so there'll be one on each side of the bow loops.
Nothing can break me, no, no, nothing can break me.
Then I just had 3 little acorns left, so I glued one up at the right top and then 2 of them on the bottom left of this canvas.
I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip.
And that's it for this one. I think this one is so pretty. I think it came out so sweet. I absolutely love it. Let me know what you guys think of this one.
When I'm in this town, look at those beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me, no, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down, feel alive. When I'm in this town, look at those beautiful stars. I wanna take a trip to.
Okay, this last one is probably my favorite. So I got this ribbon from TEMU. This piece came from Dollar Tree. I don't end up using it. Another canvas, and look at these papers. Oh my goodness. I love them. So anyway, okay, so I'm going to do the same process with the canvas. I'm not going to make you sit through all of it because you've already seen it twice. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking the hanger off of this metal pumpkin. My idea was, because it was kind of like blurry and like shadowy, and I didn't like the way it looked. So my plan was to use the Dixie Belle bonding boss so that the paint would stick better. And then I was going to paint it with celery chalk paint from Waverly, but it didn't look good at all. So I had to kind of correct course a little bit.
Look at the beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive.
So I take the cardboard and I am going to use my celery Waverly chalk paint, and I am going to paint the cardboard with that. Now I have this super thick wood pumpkin that I got from Woodpeckers Crafts, and I am going to go around the edge with the celery chalk paint, and I do that twice. Then I'm going to take Mod Podge and I am going to cover this pumpkin. And then I took a piece of paper that had like the shiplap, you'll see in just a second, and that's what I used to cover this pumpkin.
Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks.
And then I cut around it, and I'm going to use my finger sander. I'm sorry, I'm out of frame here, but I'm going to use the finger sander to get all of the excess paper off of the pumpkin. Then I just take some of the white cap Dixie Belle paint, and I'm doing just a dry brushing over the green. Now I have a bunch of these rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree from like a year or two ago with all of these beautiful green pumpkins. And I am just going to cover the majority of this pumpkin with other pumpkins and some leaves. And then I also find on one of the other rub-on transfer packs where it says Hello Autumn, and I added that to the top as well.
This is my time now. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I just wanna feel alive. It's just what I do when I'm out, so try not to hold me down, feel alive.
Now, once I got that covered, I just took some hot glue and glued the pumpkin right to the center of this cardboard. And now I'm doing that same process. I'm gonna make the X with this knife, and then I am going to take my scissors, make a plus sign and an X. And then I'm going to hot glue the cardboard to the back of the frame.
I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna be someone else.
And then, of course, the same process. Take some hot glue to the point, roll it up on itself. It's very, very simple. Once you get the hang of it, I should say. Let me preface that, right?
Nothing can break me. No, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at the beautiful stars. I wanna take a trip.
Then I am going to take 2 of these ribbons and I'm going to make a beautiful bow to add to this. The coloring is just perfect. Like it all just flows so beautifully. I love these colors together. The like the sagey green and the I love it. This one's my favorite by far.
No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I just wanna feel alive. It's just what I do when I'm out, so try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me. No, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna take a trip to Mars. Nothing can break me. No, no, nothing can break me. faster car. Lay my troubles to rest. Blow the smoke through my cigarette. City lights looking fine, and I know this is my time now.
Okay, once I get the bow together, I'm going to glue it to the top left-hand corner of the canvas. And then I have these pumpkins from the Dollar Tree. It might have been a couple of years ago. So I took the small pumpkin and a knife, and it's not a knife I use in my kitchen. I mean, I used to, but I don't anymore. And then I cut that in half, and then I found just a leaf that was kicking around in my stash and the half pumpkin, and I'm going to glue that to the bottom right hand side of the canvas. And that's it for this. Oh, I did take my paintbrush with the sage to kind of dull down the bright plasticky looking leaf, and I think it looks so much better. But that's it. It's so beautiful. I am so in love with this piece. This one's staying with me for sure. But here it is. Let me know what you think of this one. And let me know which one is your favorite.
Someone else. I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna skip my
I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a great big thumbs up for me. It really helps me out. It lets YouTube know that you enjoy my content, and they'll push it out for others to enjoy as well. If you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you'll consider sticking around and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget the bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a brand new video. I thank you so very much for taking time out of your day to spend with me, and I will see you all in the next one.
I've been feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight